Yo guys, Punkrat another video. It's been a while since I made just a straight up monologue video like this, or just connecting with you guys, maybe talking about different topics, covering some news. But here we go, another one. So if you guys haven't been following the news, there was actually two big announcements, but we're going to be focusing specifically on one for this video. The first one we'll cover really quickly. It's just layering. Layering was actually removed from most servers, at least the medium, I think high to medium pop servers, but the mega servers like Fairlina and whatnot still have two layers, so they've been reduced to 2 layers rather than however many they had before, which is okay. It's a pretty decent compromise, but layering is on its way out, which is really good news. The next thing that I think Blizzard needs to figure out is how to make it so that people don't lag when they're in massive all-out brawls. If you've seen videos from apes and whatnot, like 100 on 100, it gets really laggy, so hopefully they can figure that out. But the topic of this video is covering a more important announcement, which is the release of Dire Maul. It's been confirmed for October 15th, which is, I'd say, a lot sooner than expected. You might be thinking, oh, is phase 2 coming out? No, it's not. So they're releasing Dire Maul. Initially, they said they were going to be releasing Dire Maul with phase 2, but they announced that they're going to be prematurely bringing out Dire Maul without the PvP honor system and without world dragons, which I'd say is pretty interesting. It's a lot sooner than expected. I mean, it's been, I think, close to 50 days since Classic has released. It hasn't even been 2 months, and we're already headed into Dire Maul. If we take a look at patch, I believe it's 1.3, it kind of mimics the release, like patch 1.3 was the release of Dire Maul and the release of Azergos and was it Kazakh or a couple world bosses. Maybe it wasn't Azergos, not 100% sure. We'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see exactly what it was. But 1.3 was Dire Maul and world bosses, and then 1.4 was the world PvP and honor system implementation. So they're kind of working it out, because in the past they had phase 2 jumbled up with the honor system and Dire Maul and the world bosses all releasing at once. But now they're sort of mimicking it a little bit better, except without the world boss edition, which I think makes sense because world bosses and honor grinding are, you know, synonymous. Yeah, we're going to be getting a premature release of Dire Maul on October 15th, which I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it just yet. I mean, in the grand scope of things, it's not a huge deal because we were going to be getting it pretty soon anyways. But there are some implications with it releasing early, or just with it releasing in general. It's going to affect the game in a lot of different ways. So that's basically what we're going to cover here. And I'm probably going to make another video as well, a more edited style video where I go over some extra details. So if you guys aren't aware, Dire Maul is a dungeon, or a group of dungeons that's located in Fairless. So I'm sure you guys have been to Fairless. You know, there's a ton of ogres, and there's kind of like this one little ogre, almost like a fortress, I guess we could call it. Now that ogre fortress has 3 different dungeons. There's a portal on the right side, a portal on the left side, and a portal on the top side. They are classified as north, east, and west. So Dire Maul North, Dire Maul East, and Dire Maul West. Now, these dungeons are pretty important. They give you items that are way better itemized than most of the stuff that you can get from UBRS, Scholomance, and whatnot. Like way better. There's some items in there that are significantly better than what you can get in Molten Core in certain cases. We've got like the Tarnished Elven Band, we've got Padre's Trouser, and just to name a few, we've got Mind Tap Talisman, some really interesting items. So with Dire Maul being released, you're gonna get access to way better gear than you have access to right now, or at least complementary gear that's pretty much on the level or slightly better. This is going to affect MC speed clear times. It's going to affect PvP, I guess, to a certain extent, although not really. But in general, it's really interesting because your pre-BIS list just shifted pretty dramatically. Like maybe half of the items, or probably not half, maybe like 30% of the items on your pre-raid BIS list just shifted dramatically. So you might have just finished grinding that set, and come, I think, about a week. Yeah, about a week. I think exactly a week. You have a bunch more items to grind now. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why they did it, is because for sure there was a sub decline. I know that a lot of people probably subscribed to the game for the first month, probably paid for 1 month, played it out and then maybe didn't resubscribe, which I think was to be expected. I feel like on September 26th, around that time, we saw a sharp decline in queue times, like pretty much exactly a month after release. And I suspected that due to people just not renewing their subscriptions. And I think this is more of a business decision where I don't think this is a decision where like, oh, the player base needs more content, because I think there's so many people that aren't even level 60 yet. But I think they just kind of want to have things rolling out more consistently rather than everyone just waiting for phase 2. This is kind of gonna like be a little bit of a filler content, which I think is pretty interesting. It's gonna make the end game experience a lot better. We have access to 3 new awesome dungeons, like pretty hard dungeons, not super difficult, but there's some really interesting stuff tied into them. The first being trinkets. So you get these little, I think they're called librams. I'm pretty sure they're librams, just similar to the librams that you enchant your gear with, which lead to quests that give you class specific trinkets. So the hunter one is incredible and I'm really excited for it. It gives plus 48 range attack power. The rogue one gives you 2% chance to hit. So they're really good trinkets. And basically, if you're a druid and you're trying to get Briarwood Reed now, you don't have to. You have Briarwood Reed equivalent just from doing Dire Maul. So we've got that. We've got Warlock mounts and Paladin epic mounts. I believe those 2 are coming right now. I think you can get your epic mounts, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure if there's like a quest that you have to do with a later patch, but I'm pretty sure it's just related to Dire Maul. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I'm quite sure of that one. We've got Kelsarar, so the Foror's compendium, whatever, the another book. It's an epic book that drops in Dire Maul, and it leads to a quest where you have to get a tarnished sword and then bring it into Onyxia's lair, then forge it, and then you get Kelsarar, which is one of the best tanking weapons right now. And I think that's going to be a huge priority for dual wield tanks, which is something that we've seen sort of already take place in classic WoW. So people are going to be gunning for that Kelsarar. That's 100%. We've got tribute runs. Tribute runs have 2 factors. One of them is gear. When you do a full tribute run, you get a ton of items that drop from the chest plus the boss loot. Those items that drop from there are really, really good. There's a bunch of really awesome ones. And the most important part of tribute run is probably the fact that you get access to world buffs. So right now people have been getting Songflower if they're really try hard. You know, specific people in raids have been going for it if they really want to top the meters. People have been popping Onyxia heads for Rallying Cry of the Dragon Slayer. And now we're getting access to 3 different world buffs, slip kicks, whatever, Mulgar, whatever the hell. So 3 different world buffs basically. One of them is stamina, one of them is attack power, one of them spell crit, which is really going to change the raiding scene up, like severely change the raiding scene. Paladins are going to go out of mana way less, considering the 3% extra spell crit. Mages are going to be doing more damage, spell crit. Warriors are going to be getting 200 attack power, rogues as well, hunters. So that's like massive. The whole raid is going to get 15% increased stamina, which is huge. Like if guilds are doing tribute runs and running their entire guild through tribute runs before a raid, that's really going to change how we're able to tackle Molten Core. Your health pool is really, really important. Right now, people are in blue gear with no stamina, so having 15% increased stamina is huge, considering some of the mechanics that you're dealing with can be trivialized if your health pool gets to a certain level. So that's really, really going to change the landscape, the raiding landscape. Onyxia just got a lot easier, and people are probably going to be doing Onyxia with these buffs and even dropping how many people they're going to be going with. So it's going to be, I'd say, pretty typical for people to do 15 man Onyxia. My guild's already doing 20 man easily without any world buffs or anything. So I'd imagine if we're able to clear Molten Core even faster now and then still have those buffs ticking, just go on Onyxia, might even be able to do 15 man. So that's gonna change things up pretty heavily. And the next thing that I think is probably the most important is the way it's gonna affect the economy. So if you guys have been following, well, actually one of the last videos that I posted was doing Maradon solo farming on my hunter. And you guys know that this is a pretty decent way to make gold. So you're pinging 3 specific bosses while avoiding all of the trash, and then getting the blue weapons and stuff that drop off of those bosses that you kill, and just vendoring them and just making base gold straight out of the game system. That's a pretty good farm. I'd say right now it's probably around 30 to 40 gold per hour. It can get to, I'd say, 50 to 60 gold per hour the better your gear gets and the more efficient you become. But tribute runs are on a whole other level. So hunters can actually solo entire tribute runs by skipping most of the packs, skipping the guards, and there's this really cheesy strategy that you can use to solo the last boss and complete the tribute run by yourself, getting access to the chest that has tons of major mana potions, major health potions, green items, blue items, like just the whole 9 yards. In that tribute chest you get tons of stuff. It's really nuts, and to be able to solo that a couple times an hour, I've seen claims of it being 100 to 120 gold an hour. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but I guess it's possible. The point is that it's a serious amount of gold. And then mages have a farm in Maul East where they can drop down off of the ledge, I guess you could say, into that courtyard, where they have all those roaming sort of Trent creatures and those big tree guys, and they pull these little, I guess, like sapling packs that are scattered throughout that entire room, and they can solo them, and they drop like vines and all kinds of stuff like that sells for really high value to a vendor. And I know that people can make hundreds and hundreds and thousands of gold by doing that farm on a mage. I think paladins can do it, maybe warlocks, not 100% sure, don't quote me on that, it's possible. Priests can do it with Holy Nova. So that just changed the game entirely. So yeah, the game just changed a whole lot. The meta changed, the gear meta, the end game farming meta, the end game pre-BIS dungeon grinding meta. So people are going to be doing all kinds of different things now. I know most people are running around with pretty cruddy trinkets. You know, everyone has that UBRS that UBRS trinket where you kill General Drakazath, you get Eye of the Beast, or you get Black Hand's Breath, there's 2% crit, and a lot of people just have a random trinket in the other slot. Now people are gonna have that Black Hand's Breath and the DM trinket. So people are gonna have some really nice trinkets now, nice rings, pretty much nice everything. And there's some nice new gold farms that are gonna surface. So it's really gonna change the game. It's gonna be interesting. I'm actually really excited for it. It's kind of a surprise that it's coming early. I guess I'm gonna view it as a pleasant surprise. Hopefully it brings some hype back too. So I know a lot of people have been getting a bit, I mean, the game hasn't been dying. It's still doing really well. We have queues on Fairlena pretty much every single night. In fact, I'm in a queue right now at 2000 on Fairlena. But I think it's going to bring back some of that momentum, since people were kind of getting into that groove of just waiting for phase 2, I guess, in a certain sense, especially blasting through Molten Core once a week. It can get a bit mundane since Molten Core isn't the most exciting raid that vanilla has to offer. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Hopefully you guys like this one. Just a normal, typical Punkrat, Chunkrat. Look at this, holy I need to stop eating so much. Chunkrat monologue, and I just hope you guys like it. Thanks for watching, of course. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, of course, the drill, soldiers, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.